Hey, how you doing? Austin Hilton here. In this video, we're going to be talking about Xpeng. This is an update video on those guys. I'm a fan of Xpeng. I own their stock, and I'm very bullish on them as well as being bullish on the overall EV sector. There's not been a lot of new news related to Xpeng in the last week or so, which is why I hadn't done a video in a couple of days, but I thought I would bring you kind of a wrap-up video related to those guys. Maybe take a look at their chart for the last week. Looks like we're starting to see the beginning of some really nice positive momentum. Look at a real quick article that's got a few points that I want to cover, and then we will also look and see what the analysts think that this stock's going to be worth. I think that Xpeng, currently trading at 33.30, had a really nice week, and looks like we're starting to see the beginnings. I think that we're definitely looking at Xpeng being maybe a $50 to $60 high side stock within 12 months. And we'll just have to continue to see. We'll have to get some catalysts going our way. But overall, I'm very bullish on the stock, and I think it's going to go very, very well. So this is really more of a wrap-up video and talking about those guys and just an update. So that's what we're going to be covering. If that's of interest to you, stick around. I got some good stuff for you. As always, this video is for entertainment purposes only. And if you would do me a favor, drop a like on this video because it helps the channel, helps the video out. And consider subscribing because I bring you these types of videos all the time. Videos every day. My goal is real simple. It's to help you make more money in the stock market. So let's go take a look at Xpeng and see what is going on with them and just have a chat. So you can see from the chart that Xpeng finished trading on Friday up 2.9%. And if you look at basically the last month, we had a little bit of some volatility, but we hit on April 16th and have kind of started coming back really nicely. 6 month really shows that better, where we've had kind of this flat line with a little bit of movement. It's like our low was 26.92. We hit back on March 8th, which makes sense. That was a market correction scenario there where we had quite a few red days in there, and so it bottomed there. And then we just kind of bounced around that 26 to high 37 and then continued and then came back down. And then right here troughing and then looking at moving up with just a little bit from about the last what is that, 9 days or so, 8 days or so. If you look at Xpeng compared to say NIO, which is really their biggest competitor, Xpeng is the blue, NIO is the orange yellow. Again, I always show this when I talk about the EVs, guys. Look at how the stocks just trail each other. I call it shadowing. They shadow each other really just almost to a T. And you look at they almost exactly the same dips, the same trend lines. They react in exactly the same way. The only thing I do see here is that NIO looks like it's bouncing back up a little bit more comparatively than Xpeng, but we just don't have enough data yet. But it looks like both are continuing to kind of move in the right direction. I am extremely bullish on Xpeng long term, guys. I really am, and I think this is a $50 to $60 stock inside of 12 months. I do firmly believe that. What I like about what Xpeng has done and what they're doing is I think they're much more of a better technology company than NIO. They invest heavily in their software. They invest heavily in the LiDAR technology, things like that. And they are just doing some really, really cool stuff that is moving them in the right direction. I think, again, NIO took a different approach. NIO, I just did a video on NIO. In fact, I launched it today. You can go check it out. NIO is taking more of a lifestyle brand approach, where to own the NIO car, you kind of become part of the lifestyle. It's a brand like Apple. I talk about that all the time. NIO's got their own app, and they've got their NIO houses, and they've got all that kind of stuff, right? Xpeng kind of went a different way. They've got fantastic cars and things like that, but they went more of a much more technical scenario, engineering, right? I kind of think of it like this way: Mercedes versus BMW. BMW is much more of an engineering-based driving car than say Mercedes, and they appeal to different markets, right? And so I think that Xpeng is absolutely the number 2 player in China. It looks like NIO's kind of gotten the stamp of approval from the Chinese government. They kind of seem to be the leader in the one that the government's really officially behind. And I'm saying that because of the big deals, the infrastructure deals they put in place with Chinese-backed Sinopec and things like that. Xpeng has similar deals, but they've just not been as big or grand. And again, guys, I'm going to keep saying this. Don't shoot the messenger. I am bullish on Xpeng. I'm just telling you kind of how I see the differences between the two companies. Both companies are looking to move into Europe. Xpeng's been selling in Norway and starting to, moving more into Europe. They've got to get out of China, and additionally to kind of expand their footprint and grow those respective European market in the European market. So they're moving into that direction. I love that. This article really talks about a few key things. The global chip shortage didn't really seem to impact them. Again, this has all been news you've probably seen and heard of. They did a 13,340 deliveries in Q1. It's a 487 increase year over year and 130% increase over month. They definitely could be hit by semiconductor chip shortages maybe in Q3, Q4. NIO and those guys have already come out and talked about that. So Xpeng could hit them in that regard. They did enter into an agreement with the city of Wuhan to build an EV manufacturing base with the backing of the government that's going to have a capacity to do 100,000 units, expand the presence of Xpeng across the country. I did a previous video a while back that really went over the differentiator with Xpeng versus the other guys. And Xpeng is, massively going way much deeper investments into their technology, their software, things like that. And they're really viewing that as one of their main competitive advantages. I do like that's something that they're doing. This was a big news article, which ironically didn't even move the stock a bit. The fact that they've introduced LiDAR into their cars, which is an integral system that helps self-driving vehicles with navigation, and the company's made an entry with LiDAR technology. I mean, you would think that with that piece of information that the stock would have just went through the roof. And I think fundamentally the reason that didn't happen was very simple, was that the vast majority of the money was sitting on the sidelines and really not wanting to be an EV for about the last 3 months. Look at the chart. Look at what happened. The chart. Let's take a NIO off right here. If you look at the chart from, say, like around February, basically, let's just pick this right here. From February to, from like April 9th. What is that? February to March, March to April. February, March, April, 3 months. That's a serious market correction of about 36%. And so I think that the overall EV marketplace has been, all the money moved out of EV and high growth, especially EV. The entire sector kind of got pummeled for the last 3 months. Not to mention you had some market corrections and things like that. But if you look at that, I think a lot of what hit Xpeng and NIO as well, I talked about this in the NIO video, was that you had money moving out of EV and moving into growth. And I think so that money will come back. Because here it is, guys. EV is here to stay. Xpeng is right now, in my opinion, number 2 in the Chinese EV space. NIO's the winner. Li is a distant 3rd, 4th down the road. And obviously Tesla's Tesla and with doing what they do, and I'm a huge fan of them as well. My point is that these are the big players. Xpeng is fundamentally one of the big players, and NIO and Xpeng just go to market differently, and so I think that they've got their place, and I'm firmly bullish on them, and I think they're going to continue to kill it. I think we might have some pullbacks here and there because of maybe chip shortage in Q3, things like that. But it looks like we're at the beginning of a nice run. And being a long-term holder and investor in these guys, I think that 12 months out, I think it is a $50, $60 stock. The analysts and I are kind of agreeing on this one. They're showing it as a 48, 68 stock inside of 12 months, like by April 2022. There's 6 analysts covering it, all with a strong buy rating. And you got highs, average, and lows. And if you look at them, if you want to pause the video here, you can kind of look at each of these guys respectively. But you got a lot of reiterations. In fact, you got an upgraded right here to $50 1 month ago. You got an upgraded here going to 34, which we've just about almost hit right now. So, boy, you went on a limb there, buddy. You upgraded a month ago, and we're already there. It's funny. Okay. But, you've got a lot of really nice high price targets, things of that nature. Merrill's covering it, Morgan Stanley, Deutsche, Citigroup, Jefferies, UBS, you do have some holds, which you will get a little bit. So there's some of your holds, and overall the consensus is positive, and they're rating it as a really nice buy. And look, at 48.68, that represents a 46% return on your investment. So the analysts and I agree on this one. So let's wrap up with a few final thoughts. So I've really covered everything I wanted to say. I am bullish on these guys. I think that they are absolutely here to stay for different reasons. I think they've got fantastic products. They've done very, very well. I think they've kind of lost, so to speak, the official backing of the Chinese government. I think that's kind of gone NIO's route. But don't misunderstand or don't misinterpret what I just said. That doesn't mean that the Chinese government, is not going to help Xpeng in one way or the other. They want their big, very visual, very public EV guys to succeed, and that is NIO and Xpeng, hands down, right? And so it just is what it is. In that scenario, I think you're going to continue to see them move into Europe, and ultimately with eyes towards the United States. I've talked about this in previous videos. Out of every 100 cars sold in the United States, only two of them right now are EV. And out of those 2 that are EV, Tesla makes up 79% of those 2 that are sold right now, if you do the math. But by 2025 in the United States, for every 100 cars sold, 10 of them will be EV. The bulk of them will still be Tesla. But I think by 2025, it's highly possible you will see NIO and Xpeng in the United States, selling in the United States, and giving Tesla some competition. We've got CCIV/Lucid coming in, but they're going after the high ultra luxury market, really not even competing with Tesla straight up. So you've got a lot of interesting players in the overall EV space. It's going to be fun to watch, and as an investor in overall EV, I'm a fan, and it's going to be cool to have a front row seat at it. And on that, consider subscribing, because I'll be here reporting on it for you, because that's what I do. So all right, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next ones. Take it easy. Bye.